In the lifeless expanse of space, a massive blood-red cloud suddenly opens up, stretching for thousands of miles. At its center lies a mysterious object, Tri-Eye Atlas, an interstellar visitor that has just made its unexpected appearance. This phenomenon is being observed for the first time as a bright glow appears before the object on its path to the sun. Scientists adjust their telescopes, preparing to see familiar cometary tails. Instead, they are met with something entirely different. A terrifying specter, bright red in color, ejecting gas at an astonishing speed, yet devoid of any typical cometary features. This new image does not merely add another piece to the puzzle, it turns the entire conundrum upside down. We will analyze what exactly has been discovered and why it causes such fear. The red anomaly. Just recently, scientists gained a new perspective on the interstellar object named Tri-Eye Atlas and captured its images. This is material for cosmic nightmares. Forget about the usual comets. There is no softly glowing tail or dazzling white head. Instead, the new portrait reveals a horrific blood-red cloud. A massive accumulation of gas and dust conceals a core that we can barely distinguish. This is not just a slight variation in color. We are talking about a deep, unsettling crimson that astronomers rarely, if ever, have seen on such a scale. The coma is enormous, measuring over 90,000 miles from edge to edge. For comparison, more than 10 Earths could fit inside this ghostly red cloud. But it is not just the color that is keeping scientists awake at night. The question arises, what is this cloud made of? Spectrographic analysis, a sort of chemical fingerprint of light, yielded results that were a complete shock. The cloud is almost entirely composed of carbon dioxide, rather than the usual mixture of ices, dust, and other frozen gases expected from a comet, consisting almost entirely of pure carbon dioxide. It ejects this gas at a truly astonishing rate, 70 kilograms, or about 154 pounds, every second. It is like a smokestack at a factory releasing invisible gas into the vacuum of space. But here the story calls into question all conventional explanations. An object ejecting such a large amount of material should be one of the brightest objects in the sky. It should have a magnificent tail, stretched by the solar wind for millions of miles. However, Tri-Eye Atlas has no visible tail, none at all. It is like seeing a massive fire without any smoke. This one fact shatters all traditional models of cometary physics. Comets sublimate, meaning their ice turns into gas when heated by sunlight. This process creates their coma and tail. Tri-Eye Atlas appears to perform the first part of this process with incredible energy, but completely ignores its conclusion. The gas simply appears and then lingers in this terrifying red cloud. This is a cosmic illusion without a magician, and it unfolds on a scale that is hard to comprehend. Many are puzzled by what this could mean for other objects that are out there trying to make everything even stranger. The core of this body remains a complete mystery. For a long time, based on its faint light, we believed it to be quite small, perhaps only a few miles in diameter. However, new data obtained from a NASA telescope called SphereX hinted at something much more massive. Recent estimates suggest that its diameter could reach 46 kilometers, which is approximately 28.5 miles. This is not just a space rock, it is a whole small world. An object of this size is likely composed of frozen carbon dioxide and other volatile substances. It should glow like a Christmas tree as it approaches the sun, yet it remains surprisingly dim, shrouded in its strange bloody haze. It is too large, too red, and too unusual to be a simple comet. Scientists are facing a riddle that defies logic, and the list of contradictions only grows with each new observation. They are dealing with the image of something that is simultaneously excessively active and mysteriously inert. This compels scientists to rethink their notions of what this interstellar visitor could be. The biggest mystery lies in how it maintains its integrity while losing such a significant mass. But this question is just the tip of the iceberg. This is not the comet we were promised. Before this object became a real headache for astronomers, it sparked incredible excitement. When Comet 3Y Atlas first appeared in our telescopes, it brought with it the promise of a unique celestial event that occurs once in a generation. This wanderer was discovered while it was at an incredible distance beyond the orbit of Saturn. Even at such a vast distance, it was already beginning to brighten. Astronomers calculated its trajectory, and the results were thrilling. Its path led to a close passage around the Sun, and based on the rapid increase in brightness, predictions suggested that it would become visible to the naked eye, possibly even rivaling the brightest stars in the night sky. Astronomers' equipment was working in overdrive. It was dubbed the potential comet of the century, and people around the world were preparing for a spectacular show. But it seems the universe had other plans. As Comet 3 Psi, Atlas continued its journey into the solar system. Its behavior became unstable. The expected, steady increase in brightness that astronomers had anticipated began to falter. It would suddenly flare up, then just as quickly fade. Its tail seemed to change color and shape. It resembled an artist who cannot decide which act to perform. What no one is talking about is that such instability is a red flag for comet specialists. This indicates structural instability, signs that the object may not withstand the increasing heat and gravitational forces of the solar system. Then, betrayal occurred. Instead of becoming a majestic spectacle, 3I at last simply disintegrated. Or so it seemed to us. Observations showed a single point of light breaking into numerous smaller fragments. The great comet of the century fell apart even before its main appearance. For the general audience, the story ended there. The show was canceled, but for a small group of dedicated researchers, the real mystery was just beginning. Because even at the moment of destruction, the object did not follow the expected scenario. The fragments did not scatter as anticipated. Instead, they continued to move together in a sinister procession, with each piece forming its own miniature comet. Here, the timeline begins to blur slightly and, frankly, becomes suspicious. The initial images of the breakup demonstrated strange behavior that was investigated, but the full shocking details, including data about a gigantic cloud of carbon dioxide, were not immediately published for the general public. There was a delay. In the scientific community, data often undergoes review and verification before publication. This is standard practice. However, the delay with I at last was perceived differently, raising questions among a small but very active group of researchers. What did the initial data reveal that required such a lengthy analysis? Were there such incredible findings in those early measurements that they were initially dismissed as errors? This period of silence only deepened the mystery when new data finally became available, along with the now famous image of the red comet, which redefined everything. This was not just a comet that broke apart. It turned out to be a deeply strange object that underwent some transformation, and we received the complete picture much later. The promise of a beautiful and predictable celestial event was replaced by a convoluted, inexplicable, and far more intriguing cosmic puzzle. This was never an ordinary comet. It was something entirely different, hiding behind the guise of a comet, using its dramatic journey through our solar system to finally reveal its true and astonishing nature. Its composition was just the beginning of the puzzle. The next clue lay in its past, in the cold darkness from which it came. To understand the mystery of 3I Atlas, we need to consider where it originated, and the answer to that question is, we actually do not know. We only understand that it is not from our world. Its trajectory, which astronomers call hyperbolic, means that it is not bound by the gravity of our sun. Comets in our solar system, such as Halley's Comet, move along vast elliptical orbits, always returning. 3I Atlas is a one-way ticket. It entered our system from the boundless expanse of interstellar space, from an abyss filled with stars, and after its brief, chaotic visit, it will be cast back into the void, never to return. This makes it an incredibly rare and valuable specimen. It is a message from a distant star system, containing clues about the chemical composition and conditions of a planet that we may never get to see. We are dealing with the third such interstellar object ever clearly identified. The first of these is Oumuamua, a strange cigar-shaped object that raced through our solar system in the year 2017, accelerating in ways that remain a mystery to this day. The second is 2 and Borisov, which appeared and behaved more like a typical comet, and then there is 3 Ayatla, which does not resemble any of its predecessors. It represents a separate category, and therein lies its uniqueness. This interstellar guest seems to have traveled for an incredibly long time. Millions, perhaps hundreds of millions of years. It wanders in the icy void, far from the warmth of any stars. Over all this time, the most volatile ices, such as frozen nitrogen or carbon monoxide, should have evaporated even in the faint light of stars. As a result, only more stable materials, such as water ice and rock, should remain. However, 3 Ayatla defies this logic. Its significant emission of carbon dioxide suggests that it is a cold comet, a relic from a very, very cold place. The problem is that it seems too perfect a relic, as if it has been preserved in a cosmic freezer and then awakened at the moment of entering our system. This has spawned bold theories. One of them suggests that 3 Ayatla is a fragment of an exoplanet similar to Pluto, a world from another system that was once destroyed in a catastrophic collision. This could explain its size and unusual composition. The remnants, seemingly of the icy mantle of the planet, perfectly match what we observe. There is another, simpler theory that it is just another type of comet that formed in a colder region of its native system, richer in carbon dioxide than our Oort cloud. While this idea is plausible, it does not fully explain the absence of a tail and the unusual scale of the nucleus. And then there is the truly mind-boggling possibility that no one is discussing. Some scientists quietly wonder if the strange behavior of the object is related to its shape or structure. What if the nucleus is not a solid ball, but something more porous, like a giant cosmic sponge? Or what if the disintegration was not random, but a deliberate or at least mechanical process? This idea is on the edge of science, of course. But when traditional explanations fail, one must consider the unconventional. 3 Ayatla is a true outsider, and it refuses to conform to our rules. This is a ghost from the past that we cannot see, and a place we cannot reach. However, looking at its mysterious shape, we are compelled to ponder. Is it truly just a stone, or is something entirely different happening? So here we are, amidst contradictions, with this gigantic object. The object, measuring 28 miles in width, emerges from the depths of interstellar space, disguising itself as a comet, then puts on a light show that defies known laws of physics, and suddenly disappears. We have an image of a blood-red comet without a tail, and a composition indicating its origin from the coldest corners of an unknown star system. The question we must ask ourselves, one that anyone observing this phenomenon is likely contemplating, is how logical is all of this? Is the universe truly that mysterious? Or are we missing an important detail? When looking at the situation as a whole, it feels as though we are trying to describe an elephant, seeing only its tail, or in this case, the absence of a tail. The scientific approach involves fitting observations into existing models. But when observations do not align with these models, they must be reconsidered. 3. AI Atlas does not merely adjust the existing model. It completely dismantles it. If something so unusual can be right next to us, what else might be moving toward us? What is the true story behind this object? Share your thoughts in the comments and stay with us for new deep dives into the unknown.